important lessons I've learned about the world is that an educated and enlightened optimism is the only rational outlook that's supported by the weight of history. When it comes to investing, my philosophy is that it's not possible to make a good investor out of a pessimist. Examples of this truth are all over the place, although we usually choose to ignore them or to allow the media to put a negative spin on them. It would take me hours to cite the hundreds of examples of this truth we experience every day, but here are just two of my favorites. Consider this. Cornelius Vanderbilt was the Bill Gates of his age. He was by far the richest man in the world, but he could never have dreamed of some of the luxuries that we enjoy in America today. In the US today, of Americans officially designated as poor, 99% of them have electricity, running water, flush toilets, and a refrigerator. 95% have a television, 88% have a telephone, 71% a car, and 70% air conditioning. Vanderbilt had none of those things. Here's an example which is even more relevant today. Did you know that the iPhone was only launched in the year 2007? It's hard to believe, but it was just 10 years ago. When I was born, it was possible to assemble all the technological capability of an iPhone. It would have cost billions of dollars. Today, everyone has one in their pocket. However, the truly astonishing thing is that even someone with many billions of dollars back in 1969 when I was born couldn't have assembled all this technology because most of it didn't even exist. As we talked about last week, my optimism isn't some lazy extrapolation like saying, well, this is the way it's always been, so this is the way it'll always be, with no supporting rationale. No, the economic trend of progress I see continuing is an essential expression of human nature. It's based on the instinctive impulse of all 7.5 billion humans on Earth to become more. It's the combination of our human urge to become more, together with our natural ingenuity, which has driven the incredible explosion in quality of life that's happened in the last 10,000 years for humanity. I'm very comfortable investing in a future that's shaped by human ingenuity because it's the only resource that can never run out. In some of our past videos, we've explored the difference in historical return that T-bill investors have achieved compared to the returns that equity investors have achieved. Stocks have produced returns which are multiples of the returns achieved with conservative investments. The reason for this is that equity ownership is the only way to invest in human ingenuity. It's a terrible shame that, for some unknown reason, Americans can't perceive the nature of stocks as shares of companies which represent a direct ownership of the earnings, cash flow, and assets of the businesses which we ourselves patronize. We don't view the stock market as a portfolio of businesses with real earnings and real dividends, but instead we see stock prices as inherently unstable. We see stocks not as ownership of businesses, but as casino chips. In our quest to become great investors, let's remind ourselves that stocks are actually shares of the profits, earnings, and assets of real companies made up of real people with real creativity, intelligence, and ingenuity.